Hi people. Right, I had an email from a female member that does, that's interested in Bedini stuff, I think, complaining that I say hi guys at the start of every video. So, from now on, I'll try and say hi people. Right, where am I up to? It's been 3-4 weeks, something like that. Been up to quite a few things. What can I say? They've mainly been experiments in generator coils and stuff like that. It seems to be that everyone that I've spoken to has the same problem, in that they're feeding 12 volts into their Bedini system, attaching a generator coil and getting significantly less than 12 volts out of the generator. Typical. Mainly sort of 5 volts or less. Now I've been speaking to DrevTube about this, and we've sort of come up with a way of producing 12 volts, well, indirectly. So what I'm working on at the moment is a common generator system, tying them all into sort of a generator bus, and then pumping that common voltage and current up to a usable level to feed back into the cat bank. So that's the theory of it. I'm currently trying to simulate the circuit at the moment and seeing how many milliamps it draws itself, and so on and so forth. So what can I show you? Okay, let's take a look. There's my Bedini. The rotor head's been taken off. It's getting modified to create a G field for my generator coils. Right, I've got 85 amp lead acid battery there. It's been charged from my self-oscillating Bedini. Right, currently sat at 12.76 volts after being topped back up again. Notice that my Bedini is no longer on that workbench. It is now on its own custom built workbench. Both batteries come up to common block there, and are sat quite nicely in there. A nice shelf underneath there that needs to be occupied at some point, and a drawer for all my bits. Took me about 6 hours to build, and definitely one hell of an improvement, considering this is going to be here for a while. So, 2 multimeters there, my big yellow one's upstairs. Unfortunately it's not very well at all at the moment. First time I recorded this video, it was about this length, and then when I recorded the second part it kind of dragged on for 9 minutes. So what I'm going to do is, this is the first part of my video update. I'll do a second part in a moment, which I'll link to the first one, to this one. Second part is basically the efficiencies of the Bedini system that I have, in that it shows what energy is being used and where it's going. It'll be a little bit easier to explain with the diagram that I've got. DrevTube pointed out to me that nobody else on YouTube has actually done it, so that should be interesting. I can guarantee some people will object to the way that I've done it, or even say that I'm wrong. Could be interesting. Okay, so second part coming shortly. It will be linked down there on the video responses, I think it'll be. So take a look. As always, feel free to email me, comments, whatever. Just shout them out. Talk to you later. Just in the kitchen, and another thought, some information that I forgot to include. Right, in doing the generator tests, I created two very small coils, 50 winds each, directly opposite each other, so they're linked together in series, totaling 100 winds. Just a little test to see what would come out of them. But also, I wanted to see if the orientation of basically the magnetic flux lines travelling through the coil made any difference, and the answer is yes. One way around it produced 0.6 volts after getting over the diodes, so that was two diodes, that's 2.4 volts, that's 3 volts AC from the coils. Right. The interesting thing is, when I shorted it out, it produced no noticeable lens effect, which was quite curious. When I shorted it out, current draw was around about 5 milliamps, something like that. But at 0.6 volts, you really can't do anything with it. But that wasn't the point of the test. When I put it the other way around, the way that the coils were supposed to go, so the flux lines travels through the coil the normal way, it produced 0.9 volts after getting over the diodes, same diodes, don't forget. So that's a 50% increase. So that total 3.3 volts AC from the coils. Now, the interesting thing is, when I shorted it out, there was a huge lens effect on the coil and on the rotor head, and that basically stalled the rotor head within about 4 seconds. The peak current that I got was around about 12 milliamps, but then of course as the rotor head slowed down it dropped off rather rapidly. So that's kind of interesting really, in that if you do it in one orientation you don't get any lens effect, or, well, the lens effect is probably there but it's not actually acting on the rotor because it's rotated by 90 degrees, so instead of pointing at the magnets it's pointing 90 degrees away from the magnets. So that's quite interesting. I thought I'd include that for those that are doing generator tests. How I use that is a very good question. More theory required. A lot of what I do is probably 1 hour of practical to about 10 hours of theory. Simple reason being that if you just slap things together, then it isn't going to work unless you know what you're doing in the first place. And considering a lot of what I do is a test that, well, as you'll see in a moment on my second part to this, my efficiency is that high due to testing and theory. So slapping stuff together and seeing if it works isn't always the answer. But yes, you need to experiment. So I just thought I'd include that for you. Okay, part 2 coming up.